I possibly have the worst mother-in-law that's ever existed. Listen to this situation. My mother passed away and she left me a giant box of jewelry. But two of the pieces were very special to me. And I know my mother-in-law took it. And I'm not going to go into details right now because I want to walk you through everything. But just know, she's evil. And I'm going to get to the bottom of it even if my dad won't help me. Let me tell you exactly what happened. Growing up, I've always been the kind of person who found joy in helping others. Whether volunteering at shelters, helping classmates with assignments, or even simply lending a listening ear. I felt happiest when I could make someone else's day better. My family, my mom, has always been my foundation, and her love and support taught me to be open-hearted and accommodating. Having lost my dad at a young age, she took up the role of a father and mother. In my final year in college, I met him. He was everything I knew I needed, kind, driven, supportive of my dreams. From the moment we met, our connection was magic. Our classmates always used this phrase for us. College love doesn't last, but by the time we graduated, he proposed at the General Hall. In the presence of everyone. He got down on one knee and asked me to marry him, and to my shock and the delicious reactions on the faces of our classmates, I said yes. Soon I found myself planning my wedding. Meeting his family 1 month later was nerve-wracking yet exciting. I desperately wanted them to like me, and for the most part, they did. His father, Kennedy, was warm, engaging, and we bonded instantly over our shared love of science fiction. As a sci-fi writer, it thrilled me to have somebody support my passion and actively encouraged it. But his mother was different. She wasn't outright cruel, but her disapproval was obvious even to the blind. She thought I was too old for her son, a detail she never missed an opportunity to highlight in very subtle ways. Yes, I'm older, but I'm only 2 years older than him. Because I was raised by a single mother, things were not all that rosy. I had to stop going to school for a while, but soon after, my mom started her company. I was able to resume school, but in Eric's class, which was 2 classes behind when I stopped school. Diana's icy demeanor did not deter me at first. I believed I could win her over with enough kindness and effort. So I brought her gifts, spent hours helping her with errands, and made myself available whenever she needed me. I bought a Prada shoe. Yes, I got her Prada shoes, the latest edition. It took most of my savings and 2 months' salary. Eric didn't let me hear the last of it when I showed it to him. He was angry. He was furious I spent a huge amount on a shoe, even if it was for his mom. In my defense, though, it was her birthday, and her birthday beats me, so why he was so angry? Anyways, I got her designer shoes, and her reaction, well, when she saw it, was almost genuine. I felt like I won the bad lottery as she happily collected the shoe, but she was still cold towards me. This woman knows that I spent a lot on the gift, and instead of giving me a break, her demands grew, requests for expensive items. It favors that cut into my time, and this has left me emotionally drained. Despite her resistance, I remained hopeful. The rest of the family, Kennedy, Alice, Eric's younger sister, whom seems to take up her role as my chief bridesmaid seriously, was clingy but with love. The rest of the family embraced me wholeheartedly, and I was happy. 2 weeks later, amid wedding planning, tragedy struck. My mother, my rock. She passed away unexpectedly. Losing her was like losing a piece of myself. The pain was unbearable, and there were days when I felt I could not go on. But my fiancé and his family, even his mother, rallied around me. Their support gave me strength, especially his father's. He reminded me to channel my grief into writing and honor my mother's memory by continuing to chase my dream. He asked me to move in with him, which I tried to turn down, but Eric did not take no for an answer. Amongst my mother's possessions was a breathtaking set of jewelry, 24-karat gold necklace and earrings encrusted with diamonds and emeralds. It was a fortune. But to me, its true value lays in the sentiment. She'd always envisioned me wearing it on my wedding day, and now it was one of the pieces of her legacy that I left. During a family gathering, I shared the jewelry story with everyone, showing them the intricate pieces that felt like a piece of my mother's soul. The reaction touched me deeply. Eric held me close, his father admired the craftsmanship. Even his mom offered a faint approval. For a moment, it felt like everything would just be okay. But the peace I had felt was short-lived. I met with the wedding planner 2 days later just to finalize some last-minute details. Returning home, I went straight to my room, eager to check on the jewelry. It had become a source of comfort, a link to my mother that I could not bear to be without. But my heart nearly stopped when I opened the drawer where I carefully stored it, and the box was gone. Gone. Oh, I was dumbfounded because I had the key to the drawer in my purse, which I carried along with me to see the wedding planner. How could anybody open it? Panic sets in immediately, and I check the room. Searching every corner, every shelf, every possible hiding spot, I called out to my fiancé, and soon the entire household was helping me look. But deep down, I knew it was misplaced. No, it was stolen. Someone broke into the drawer and stole it. I had been staying at Eric's family house since my mother's death. His dad, Kennedy, felt it would be good for me to stay with him so I would not miss my mom. Aside from Eric, his mom, and dad, the only person who had access to my room was the cleaning lady, and she had called in sick 2 days ago. Angel, Eric's sister, who was in music school, returned to school before I came to stay with the family. As the hours passed, the reality of the situation sank in. That jewelry was not just valuable, it's irreplaceable. It was my mother's legacy, a gift to show her love and dreams for me, and now it's just gone. I've tried to think hard about who would do it, and I couldn't help but feel suspicious of everyone in the house. Who would take something so precious to me? Who would violate my trust in such a way? My mind thought through every possibility, but I was careful not to voice my thought. Accusations without proof would only create chaos. Yet a small part of me could not ignore how I'd always felt with his mom. She had never hidden her disdain for me, and I'd noticed her lingering gaze when I first showed the jewelry. Could she have taken it? The thought felt like betrayal, but was impossible to dismiss entirely. 4 days go by. Still no jewelry, and I no longer felt comfortable. The family tried to comfort me, but I could feel the unease. Eric's father suggested filing a police report. I hesitated. How could I explain that my suspicion pointed towards someone here? Sitting here now, I'm overwhelmed. The joy of finding love and building a future with someone I adore has been overshadowed by the loss of my mom and the theft of her cherished jewelry. I've always believed in people's goodness and the power of kindness to heal wounds and remove hate, but this experience has shaken that belief. How do you reconcile love and trust with betrayal? How do you move forward when someone you welcomed into your heart might have stolen a piece of it? Update number 1, 2 weeks later. Hey everyone. I didn't really expect my first post to gain so much traction, and while some of the comments were brutal, others were incredibly supportive. Thank you. Anyways, for the skeptics, I hope this update cleared things up. To catch everyone up, I recently began noticing strange behavior from my mother-in-law. Unfortunately, my suspicions have been confirmed in the worst way possible. 2 weeks ago, I went to work and confided in my colleague Kelvin about my missing jewelry. It wasn't just any jewelry, but a family heirloom from my mom. Losing it was devastating. See, I'd already scoured the house, turned upside everything, and even subtly questioned Eric, my fiancé, but nothing came up. Kelvin, who's always been a good friend to me, was genuinely concerned. Even if he likes to make his feelings for me painfully obvious, he could not resist digging about Eric's family, though. He said, "Marrying into a family of thieves, Meredith." Well, it stung, but I brushed it off. You know, I do love Eric too much to let anyone, even Kelvin, plant doubts about him in my mind. Kelvin told me about a friend who owns a jewelry store 5 kilometers from Eric's home. The store also buys secondhand, so he suggested we send a picture of the missing piece, and he thought, hey, it might just be a long shot. I immediately sent over a picture of my mom wearing the jewelry. It was one of my favorite photos. She looked elegant, with the gold necklace perfectly complementing her smile. I was reluctant to believe anything would come out of it, but I was desperate. Fast forward to last week, Kelvin gives me a ring-a-ding, saying his friend recognized the necklace, and my heart sank. The store owner told him that a woman had recently sold it to him, and while he didn't think much of the item, he felt uneasy because the jewelry looked incredibly unique. The shocking part is that the store owner knew my mom. Years ago, she bought several pieces from his shop, including the necklace. When he saw it again, he grew suspicious, but decided, hey, I'll just document the entire transaction as usual with the seller, just in case. So, Kelvin's friend forwarded all the documentation to me, including photos of mother-in-law selling the jewelry at a signed receipt. It was undeniable proof. When I saw her name and signature on the receipt, I was beyond furious. I wanted to confront her immediately, but Kelvin convinced me to wait. He suggested I gather more evidence and consider my next steps because causing a scene? Oh, no way. Well, that evening, I met up with one of my close friends, Kyra, who had been helping me through this whole ordeal. She encouraged me to contact the store owner directly and verify everything myself. I did, and he was incredibly kind, even offering to return the necklace for free once I sorted everything out. With her help, I have now all the proof I need. The store's CCTV footage of mother-in-law entering and selling the necklace, the receipt with her signature, and the text message between Kelvin and his buddy. The hardest part is figuring out how to handle this without completely blowing up my relationship with Eric. I haven't told him yet, but I'm torn. I love him, but this isn't something I can just sweep under the rug. Update number 2. It's been 4 days. I'm still wholly disbelieving that my mother-in-law has done this. It's been 4 days and the shock has not worn off. A small part of me hoped that she would come clean by now, maybe even return the necklace or give some explanation. But instead, she's been acting like the perfect victim, playing her part in our family meeting. She sat there looking so concerned about the break-in, even going as far as saying she'd contacted the cleaner to help spread the word about the missing necklace. On the other hand, Eric's father was adamant about involving the police. He said somebody broke into their house and needed to be handled with drastic measures. I didn't know how to react. I'm still in disbelief. But guys, here's a shocking moment. She cornered me after the meeting. Of all the times when I was already dealing with the stress of this whole situation, she dared to confront me privately. She told me in no uncertain terms that I needed to leave her son. I can't even begin to describe the nerve that she had, the audacity. She looked me straight in the eyes and said that I should, quote, take my claws off her innocent boy. Innocent? Eric is a grown man who makes his own decisions, but there she was, acting like I trapped him. For a second, I was so close to losing it. I wanted to lash out, tell her a piece of my mind, but I held back. Barely. She's pushing every button that I have, and I can't tell if she's trying to make me crack or if she's genuinely believing that she can intimidate me into leaving Eric. This has been so hard. I love Eric, and I won't let her come between us. If she thinks I'm gonna walk away, she's mistaken. But that doesn't mean I'm not struggling. Every time I think about her smug expression during the meeting, of her harsh words, and in the corner, I feel so angry. Well, for now, I'm just trying to stay strong. It's not easy when someone you should be able to trust is the one working against you. What would you guys do if you found yourself in my position? Because right now, I'm running out of ideas. Update number 3, 2 days later. Hey, thanks for the advice, right? These 2 days have been crazy, and I honestly don't know where to begin. First off, I'm still recovering from the betrayal. After everything I've done for my mother-in-law, this is how she chose to repay me. Stealing my deceased mother's jewelry, something that held value to me, and then using the proceeds to fund her latest display of vanity, a brand new car? You read it right. My mother-in-law, Diana, drives a shiny new car into the driveway yesterday. My heart sank immediately because Kennedy, her husband, was the first to react, his jaw practically touching the ground. He confronted her in the driveway, demanding to know where she got the money, and that's when things went through the roof. Kennedy, who usually tries to keep the peace, was furious. He even accused her of cheating to afford such a luxury, which seemed to push Diana completely over the edge. She snaps back, yelling that he was useless and could not provide anything for her. She said they've been driving the same old hunk of junk for years and that she deserved better. Her words hurt him, and I could see the pain on Kennedy's face as she belittled his dreams of becoming a writer. I stood there watching the scene unfold, feeling torn. On one hand, I felt terrible for old Kennedy. He didn't deserve that level of disrespect from his wife. But on the other hand, I couldn't calm the anger I was feeling. I knew where that money came from. For the car. When Eric got home from work, he asked her, "Where'd you get the money for the car, Ma?" And just like that, Diana became the picture of innocence, claiming a friend lent her a little bit of extra money. A friend, really? I wanted to scream. The audacity of this woman knows no bounds. I called Kevin, one of the only people I trust with this mess, and explained the situation at hand. He was equally appalled and advised me to inform my father-in-law about the evidence I've gathered. While his suggestions make sense, I'm hesitant. Kennedy is also defeated already by Diana's actions, and I don't know if he can handle the truth right now. Update number 4. It's been a week. Hey, it's been a week. I have to say your advice and support have been invaluable. Since my last update, things have taken pretty much a dramatic turn. Buckle your seatbelt. After seeing how completely defeated my father-in-law Kennedy was, I could not hold back. The evidence I gathered, every danging piece, that was sent to him. I didn't know how he would react, but I was prepared for the fallout. When Kennedy called me back, his voice was calmer than I expected. It wasn't the angry outburst I thought would come, it was more profound and resolved. He told me he had decided he was going to divorce her. She was never content. She has hindered me from chasing my dreams long enough. I could hear the pain in his voice. He believes it's not too late for him to start love over and pursue his dreams of becoming a writer. And then he said something that caught me off guard. Before I let her go, I want her to feel the repercussions of what she's done. Let's make her realize just how wrong she's been. Together, we devised a plan. It's not malicious per se, I don't want to stoop to her level, but it's meant to make Diana confront the consequences of her actions. We let her sit with the guilt for a bit to see how far she would go to try to maintain her lie. Kennedy has been playing the part of the supportive hubby in public, praising her new car and even pretending to believe her story, about the money being a loan from a friend. Meanwhile, Eric has been subtly pressing her with questions, clarifying that her story simply doesn't add up, and me, I've been in the background watching it all unfold. Final update, it's been 3 weeks. Hey guys, after my last update, my father-in-law and I implemented our plan. We decided on a small family wedding party to set the stage. Though it wasn't part of my original wedding plan, convincing Eric was no small task. He was confused about the sudden change, but eventually he agreed, after I assured him it was to bring the family together. Here's the icing on the cake. I sent Diane a white dress for the event, and to my utter disbelief, she did not argue about the color. Who wears white to a wedding unless they're the bride? But honestly, I wasn't surprised. She's not exactly a human. Fast forward to the day of the party, everybody was there. Eric's sister Alice had returned from school, and the family was gathered for a warm celebratory occasion. Diana arrived unaware of what was about to happen. That's when Kennedy, my father-in-law, took the floor. In front of everybody, he announced that he was done. He's divorcing Diana. Everybody was shocked to their bones as he laid out every piece of evidence and her theft. It didn't end there. The jewelry store owner must have contacted the police. Yeah, because Diana was arrested for theft and selling stolen property in the middle of the event. And the shock on Eric's face broke my heart. He couldn't believe that he was hearing this, and neither could Alice. After that, Eric did not speak to me for a while. I was unsure if he was angry, at me, his father, or heck, even his mother. Maybe it was a bit of everything. I should have told him about the plan, but I was scared. I didn't want him to feel torn between me and his family. Well, Eric through weeks was rough. The arrest of his mother and his father's decision to divorce her hit him harder than I expected. For a while, it felt like he was drifting further apart from me. But over time, he found a way to forgive his mom. Not because her actions were excusable, but because holding on to anger would only keep him stuck in the past. Okay, now for the big news. I'm married. Despite everything, I walked down that aisle and married that man. The wedding was everything I dreamt of, even though one noticeable absence was Eric's mother, who was awaiting trial. My father-in-law stepped up to support Eric and me, and having Alice back from school made the day feel whole. Oh, and guess what? I recovered the jewelry.